Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. Beginning with Hurricane Milton, it made landfall in Florida as a Category 3 storm. Wind, storm surge, extremely heavy rainfall have created catastrophic conditions across the area and increased the risk of life-threatening flash flooding. Brian Abel is in Orlando and has more on the storm.
In a record-timed third time this year, a hurricane slammed straight into the state of Florida.
Our island was devastated by Hurricane Helene, and now we're getting a gut punch with Milton.
In more than 150 years, it's only happened 5 other times.
I think the biggest thing is still just to know that there are a lot of threats out there.
Multiple feet of storm surge, heavy rainfall, and flooding, all concerns from Milton's wrath. But even before the hurricane made landfall, destructive winds lashed the Sunshine State. Officials reporting the most tornado warnings in a day on record. Here's what's left after a tornado destroyed a 10,000 square foot sheriff's facility in St. Lucie County.
It happens in a flash. You know, we're in the building not even 50 yards away, and it's here, it's gone. And there ain't nothing stopping that building coming down. So if your house is coming down on you, nothing's stopping it.
In Fort Myers, one family was inside their home when a tornado ripped through their neighborhood.
We all started going for the hallway, didn't even make it there in time, started doop, and I heard a piece of glass crack and it sucked the whole roof off, and I felt the thing suck me up, and I grabbed my kid and my wife and hunkered down.
The storm also tore off a part of Tropicana Field Stadium roof. The Rays Stadium is being used as a base camp for debris cleanup and first responders during Milton. I'm Brian Abel reporting.
Closer to home, a 51-year-old Beatrice man has been bound over to district court, charged in the killing of a 52-year-old woman last month. A preliminary hearing was held in Gage County Court Wednesday for Christopher Milky. Tammy Leslie was found dead in a bedroom of the couple's Hillcrest Street home early in the morning of September 8th. She'd been shot 3 times. Milky bound over to Gage County District Court on second-degree murder, felony weapon, and 2 kidnapping counts. 2 witnesses were called by the state Wednesday: Beatrice Police Investigations Unit Chief Aaron Byrne and Beatrice Police Officer Tim Price. Their testimony indicated the children in the house were prevented from leaving, with police saying 2 doors to the home had been screwed shut. Milky scheduled to be arraigned on the 4 felonies November 13th in Gage County District Court. He remains held without bond. A 3-judge panel has been appointed in the death penalty case of a Northeast Nebraska man convicted of quadruple homicide. Just over 3 weeks before he retires, Nebraska Supreme Court Chief Justice Michael Heavican made the order this week that District Judges Brian Meismer, Patrick Hang, and Timothy Burns will be determining the fate of 44-year-old Jason Jones. The Laurel man convicted of first-degree murder in the deaths of fellow Laurel residents Gene and Janet Twyford, their daughter Dana Twyford, and neighbor Michelle Ebeling. Jones' wife, 45-year-old Carrie Jones, also faces a first-degree murder charge. Her next hearing scheduled for October 28th in Cedar County District Court. Multiple people have been injured following a crash between a tanker truck and a tractor in northeast Nebraska. It happened just after 3 p.m. near the intersection of Highway 275 and 549 Avenue. That's 3 miles west of Norfolk. Video from the scene shows a tanker truck off the highway in a cornfield and a tractor towing 2 grain carts off to the side as well. One of those carts spilled grain all over the highway. A LifeNet medical helicopter transported 1 patient to the hospital. The State Patrol says they're currently listed in stable condition. An ambulance, meanwhile, transported a 2nd person to the hospital. They've since been treated and released. The State Patrol says they're investigating the cause and spent the evening trying to get the soybeans cleaned up off the road. The owner of the Kearney Taco John's franchises says he will rebuild at the site of Wednesday morning's fire. Ed Wilchin tells us he woke up about 2 a.m. to a phone call from Kearney police saying his restaurant on East 25th Street was on fire. Firefighters battled the blaze for almost 3.5 hours before considering it contained. Nobody was inside at the time and no one was injured. Even with the shock of the fire still fresh, Wilchin says he knows his plans for the future of the business.
We'll scrape it off and then planning on rebuilding a new Taco John's, because our customer base here, are like all great people, and we wouldn't have lasted this long without them.
Wilchin's father, Jim, opened the Taco John's location back in 1980, and Wilchin had just renovated the building, replaced the lights, the ceiling, the seating, the painting, and all of the equipment. But he says losing the equipment and the structure isn't the toughest part.
For me, the hardest part is probably like the memories because I worked here when I was in high school, and all my friends did, and there's a lot of people that have worked here, and then also all the great people that we had as customers that I got to know over the years.
The state fire marshal's office still investigating what caused the fire. Wilchin says it will likely be a couple of weeks before the building is completely demolished. Emergency management officials in southwest Nebraska urging the public to stay away from active emergency scenes after a wildfire south of North Platte this week. Officials said the growing number of onlookers hoping to capture photos or videos not only slows down traffic for emergency crews, but also increases the risk of accidents. Those incidents could divert resources away from the primary emergency. Monday's fire destroyed more than 700 acres of land. Renovations to the walls and ceilings of the Jefferson County Courthouse are done, all a couple of weeks ahead of schedule. Tim Hackett gives us a look from Fairbury.
The reconstruction of the second floor of the Jefferson County Courthouse building in downtown Fairbury was completed this week. This phase of the project began in earnest in late July with an estimated completion time of 2 to 3 months. In early September, scaffolding, fences, and the noise of progress persisted. By late September, the doors to the south end of the building were reopened and employees were returned to their offices, but construction continued. Now, in the first full week of October, the officials in charge of the project say it's done, a couple of weeks ahead of schedule.
Oh yeah, we're definitely good upstairs now.
Everything's up and running.
The final step of this phase of the project was a walkthrough of the building's second floor with the Jefferson County Commissioners on Tuesday morning. The first request for reconstruction came in 2020, where part of the ceiling fell right onto an attorney's desk in the second floor courtroom.
When we did tear it down, it didn't take much to get it down.
Bob Elgert, the leader of the project, emphasized an important element of his operation. His is a local company, and nearly all of the people that worked on the reconstruction of the county courthouse call Jefferson County home.
Everybody pays taxes in here, so they're getting the piece back. We got to support the locals, so if not, we're going to be in trouble.
In Fairbury, I'm Tim Hackett, News Channel, Nebraska.
A group of history enthusiasts put on a reenactment in Nebraska City this week depicting Lewis and Clark's famous 1804 journey across the American West. The Discovery Expedition of St. Charles, made up of several hundred volunteer reenactors, gathered at the Lewis and Clark Visitors Center to recreate part of the expedition that the iconic duo made more than 200 years ago. Wearing buckskins and uniforms, the reenactors came from St. Charles, Missouri, recreating the scenes of 1804, including cooking over campfires, sleeping under canvas, and carving their own tools. The pinnacle of the reenactment is the replica wooden keelboat. It was also intended to float down the Missouri River. The team's taken the keelboat down the Missouri several times before, including 20 years ago at the Bicentennial, making stops along the path that the original Lewis and Clark took. The reenactors say they plan to drive to their next stop in Atchison, Kansas, where they'll try again to take the boat down the Missouri. And people near Valentine got an up-close look at some bison this week. Casey Wannenberg takes us to the Fort Niobrara National Wildlife Refuge for the annual Bison Roundup.
With fall in the air, ranchers are gearing up for the winter season. And near Valentine, Fort Niobrara National Wildlife Refuge is rounding up a different type of animal.
Seeing them kind of run in, it's pretty exciting. It's like a stampede of animals.
The refuge is home to around 350 bison. Each fall, they're rounded up to monitor herd health and genetics.
Knowing who's who out there in the herd, so the genetic sampling will be able to tell which bison is which, who's reproducing in the herd, who's not reproducing.
Only yearlings are run through the chutes, where they receive microchips and ear tags.
Those are animals that we haven't previously handled.
To maintain the health of the herd and habitat, The refuge aims to maintain a population of 350, which means this year they'll be donating around 25 yearlings.
And those bisons will go to tribes or groups affiliated with tribes.
The tribes can submit a request if they need more bison to replenish their herd.
A fall roundup which focuses on preserving the genetics of a species once on the brink of extinction.
These are some of the more unique bison in the world. Their genetics are excellent, very little cattle introgression, to make sure that we conserve that iconic, federal mammal that we have in the United States.
An iconic animal preparing for the season ahead, just like the land around it. Near Valentine, Casey Wenneberg, News Channel, Nebraska.
And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com and click on the news tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. You're watching News Channel Nebraska.